I'm going to show you the 5 time principles you can use to double your income while working half the time. These are the same things I started implementing many years ago, and they have changed my life dramatically. While I used to work 60 to 80-hour weeks in my businesses, I now only have to work a few hours at most in any of my businesses, and I make 10 times more than I used to. If I can figure out how to make 10 times more income working a fraction of the time, you can use these principles to double your income or work less than half the time, or if you're lucky, do both. I'm gonna show you how to become more effective over productive. I'm on a mission to help as many people double their income working half the time. And in order to do that, you have to plug into people and resources to help you do it. If you want to connect with me, my network, and things that will help you get where you want to be, go to tonyjavier.com/connect. Remember, your net worth is in direct proportion to your net work. So utilize my network to grow exponentially. I do periodic trainings and masterminds with the best in the business, and you can get access to them. Go to tonyjavier.com/connect. So why am I sharing these principles with you? In 2010, I hit rock bottom. I had to let go of my staff for the 3rd time. Literally within a 30-day period, I went from growing a team going in the right direction to 0 employees. It was a really hard time for me. They say insanity is doing things over and over and expecting the same result, which is what I was doing. I was working way too many hours. I wasn't hiring the right people. I was working weekends, I was working nights, I had no time off, and I had no personal life. I'm a big proponent when bad things happen that there's always something at the end of the rainbow, right? So this forced me to start making better decisions. I was sick of making the wrong decisions. And I realized at that point that I just needed to work way smarter. So using these principles within about 3 to 4 years, I was able to more than double my income working less than half the time. And now fast forward to today, again, I make 10 times more money than I used to, and I work a fraction of the time. So whether you want to get more done or work less or both, this video is going to help you. So let's get into those 5 principles, and I have a bonus one for you that you're gonna love. So number 1 is Parkinson's Law. If you've heard of Parkinson's Law, it basically means that the time you give is the time that something expands to. So if you say that something's gonna take a week, it's probably gonna take a week. But if you take that same thing and you say, I can get it done by tomorrow, chances are you're gonna figure out how to get it done by tomorrow. So you can use this in many things. I'm gonna talk in a little bit about scheduling time off, but if you decide to work weekends and decide to work nights, your work is going to expand to it. So this not only has to do with you, but also your team. I'm not a huge fan of deadlines, but I'm a big fan of giving someone time to do something. So when you delegate a task, I always try and tell my team, when I delegate something to you, unless I tell you differently, get it done within 48 hours. Otherwise, that task is going to expand into whatever time that they want it to expand to. So here's a few things that you can use to take advantage of Parkinson's Law. Number 1, set the amount of work hours that you want to work in a week. So rather than leave it open-ended, tell yourself, I'm only gonna work 30 hours, I'm only gonna work 40 hours, whatever that time frame is. Number 2 is when you give something to other people, tell them what time frame you want it done in. Otherwise, when you delegate something and just give it out to them, it could come back in a week, it could come out in 30 days. Sometimes when I delegate things and I don't give it a time frame, months later, I'll think about that task and think to myself, is that thing done? Number 3 is use this on big projects. Elon Musk is notorious for someone saying when it's gonna take a year, he tells them how to figure out how to do it in a week. And what happens? Most of the time they have to think differently in order to get it done in that time frame. So don't be afraid to take these big projects and shrink them into small timelines. You and your team will figure out how to get those things done. So number 2 is get rid of responsibility. A lot of people are overwhelmed because they have too much responsibility. They were responsible for many things in their business or many things in their job when they could give that responsibility to somebody else, especially you business owners. So I used to have a lot of projects on my plate, and then I would delegate some things to my team, and I would ultimately be responsible for them. Now I have people on my team that I give them full responsibility. Even if I have something to do with that project, they are responsible for moving it forward. So if I'm not getting something done, they need to let me know. If another team member is not getting something done. It's not me that has to do it. It's one of my team members that has to do it. Just remember, there's typically two types of people. There's a visionary and there's an integrator. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you are a visionary and you need an integrator on your team or integrators to push things forward. Richard Branson is actually notorious for this. He is a visionary and has many companies, and he has a right-hand person that when he has something, he gives it to them and they take it and they run with it. And once a day, she brings things to him for him to give his input on, but ultimately she's responsible for taking it and moving it forward. So think like a billionaire. So number 3 is schedule time off. I already talked about Parkinson's law. I used to think 7 days a week of work is what I needed to do to be successful. And what I figured out is when I scheduled 8 to 5, which means that I get to work at 8 o'clock and I'm home by 5 o'clock, then I'm going to get done what I need to get done in that time period. I'm not working nights. I'm not working weekends. That doesn't mean that every once in a while you can't send an email or you can't do something on the night or the weekends. But if you leave that schedule open, chances are you're going to get overwhelmed. You need scheduled time off to recharge, to think, to spend time with your family, and just to have a personal life. I remember when I started having success about 15, 17 years ago, I bought a really nice house with a pool. My family would actually come over and use the pool, and I would be inside working. And I look back at those times and I'm like, how stupid was I of not just taking that time off, spending it with family, and figuring out how to get things done during the week. So don't do like I did and schedule time off. I now schedule multiple times where I'm done at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I take mini vacations. In fact, I'm leaving in a few days to take a 10-day vacation, something that I do almost every month or every other month now. Principle number 4, your day begins the night before. Let me give you a couple scenarios. You stay up till midnight watching Netflix, on your phone, scrolling social media. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you're tired and you're dragging, right? That's what a lot of people do. But imagine if at 8 o'clock at night, you start meditating, you look at your calendar for the next day, you start journaling and writing down what you want for your next day, you plan your next day, you visualize what it is that you want to happen the next day, you shut down screen time at about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you're in bed and asleep by 10 o'clock, you wake up at 6, guess which of those scenarios you're gonna have more energy for? It's not always about managing your time, but sometimes it's about managing your energy. And it starts the night before. As much as I love morning routines, I have one myself, I feel like the night before is even more important than the morning. Number 5, time block your priorities. There's a saying out there that says, if it's not on your calendar, it probably doesn't exist. What that means is if it's not on your calendar, it's much less likely to get done. In fact, there was a Harvard study that showed when they gave students something and they told them to set a time and date that they were going to do it, they were exponentially more likely to get that task done. So rather than having a big to-do list, why don't you take that list and put it on your calendar and set timeframes that you're going to work on those things, especially the most important things. In fact, I have reoccurring things that I know are important that are time blocked on my calendar. Shooting videos, going over financials, marketing meeting with my team. Remember, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Now, I told you I was going to give you 5 principles, but there's one that I really wanted to give you that I think is the most important. And number 6, the bonus tip I'm going to give you is believe you can do it. Visualize it. Know that it's going to happen. When I was stressed out, I told you that story back in 2010. I was doing everything in my business. I let go of my team. And even though I had a team, I was still doing a lot of things that I shouldn't be doing. And then I met a guy who actually had a business like mine that ran without him. At that time, I didn't know that was possible. I thought I had to meet with sellers. I thought I had to meet with buyers. I thought I had to deal with contractors. I thought I had to do all those things to succeed in this business because I did it and I did the best. And by meeting that gentleman, it made me realize I don't have to do all those things. And remember, within 3 to 4 years, I had my business where it was running better without me and only having to work a few hours a week on things that were the most important. So you've probably heard of Roger Bannister and the 4-minute mile. People didn't think you could run a mile in 4 minutes. And once Roger Bannister did that, there were a ton of people that did it soon afterwards. So I am your Roger Bannister. I'm letting you know that you can make a lot more money working a lot less time. I really hope this helped you. I'm very passionate about this because I want people to have a life worth living and businesses worth owning. So remember, anything is possible. Whatever you put your mind to is possible. So if you made it this far, you are a winner and you're probably going places. And I want to help you go further and help you do it faster. So go to tonyjavier.com/connect to plug into my network. If you loved this video, you are absolutely going to love this one.